Welcome to a special 75th episode of Sharing Life Lessons. This is season 8. We are one spirit, one soul, and together we are creating a library of stories and life lessons. I am your host Hamidah, and I want to bring you stories because stories matter, stories inspire, stories teach, and stories heal. Listeners, I am ecstatic that this is the 75th episode of Sharing Life Lessons. I started exactly 2 years ago on my birthday, October 15th, 2019. Our very first guest, Pat David, who's also a friend, knew I wanted to do this, but knew I had a block. So she walked into my house on my birthday, October 15, 2019, with her son's mic and account with Anchor.fm and told me, this is it. It's your birthday present. We are doing your first episode right now. And we did. 2 years later, 75th episode. I am thankful. I am grateful to many. To Pat for starting me off. To all the listeners who regularly listen. To all my monthly subscribers who are my financial supporters, and especially to all the 74 guests who have given of their time, their lovely personal stories, and their life lessons. You are Sharing Life Lessons Village. We have reached the 75th episode together. I wish and pray that you continue with me through my journey to the 100th episode. I wanted to do this episode a little differently, so we do not have a guest for this episode. But I kept thinking to myself as to how can I make this special for you and for me. And just when I was trying to make plans for this, my very good friend Mumtaz added me to a WhatsApp group and she called it the Audio Club. A little different than the book club. What she did was she took a book that she liked. It is called A Little Light on the Spiritual Laws by Diana Cooper. And she started reading chapter after chapter. Right before that, she said, hey, I'm going to do this because I want to do this. If you enjoy it, stay on. If you don't enjoy it, I won't be offended if you get out of the group. The first chapter I was okay with, and I said, okay, let me just give this another shot. And then the second chapter was titled As Within, So Without. The title in itself was good enough to be another hook for me. Now I wait for her to send other chapters because I want to listen to not only the content, but I also want to listen to her voice reading the content. The titles of other chapters were the law of attraction, the law of resistance, the law of reflection, the law of attachment, etc. As I reflected on how creatively Mumtaz had 33 of us read the same book together, I thought I could use this format for the 75th episode. So instead of having a guest for this episode, I will share life lessons, lessons that I have learned from listening to those I consider wise people. These few lessons have pretty much changed who I am. Of course, the one thing I can't deviate from is the story. Every episode needs a story, and today I will tell you a story that remained with me and guided me for the past 15 years. It came to me as, I would say, a coincidence. My daughter was in second grade, and in the beginning of the school year, we had parents' night. For those who have kids, you know what I'm talking about. When I went to her classroom and sat on that cute little red chair, there was a letter from her for her dad and me, which was very heartwarming. And under that letter was a blueprinting paper with a story on it. The teacher said that this is a story that the kids all know, and she wanted us to have our kids say this story to us during dinner for the next 2 days. This way, she said, you both will be on the same page on this matter. I want to tell you this story, but after that comes the unique aspect of this episode. No matter where you start from, you will learn something, and no matter where you stop, you will walk away with something. You don't have to stay till the end if you wish not to. I will be delivering nuggets of amazing lessons for the rest of this episode. if you continue listening after the story, you will know what I mean. The story begins with a lot of frogs standing on the starting line of a frog race. The goal was to reach a tree about hundreds of meters away, and the winner would be the frog that would climb that tree the fastest. The race begins. 3, 2, 1, go! All the frogs dash towards the tree. As with every race, there were so many people who had gathered to see this unusual race, and they were standing on both sides of the track. As the frogs ran, they heard these people say, "You are only a frog. You don't know how to climb. You can't do this. You won't do this. You are a fool to even attempt. What a waste of your time. You can't, you won't, you are stupid. This is impossible. You are dumb to even think you can finish the race, let alone win it. Ha ha, you are making such a fool of yourself." Multitudes of frogs dropped out of the race right in the beginning after hearing this. Many reached halfway through, and they started thinking about what these people were saying. And they dropped out of the race because they convinced themselves that what these people were saying was right. 10-ish frogs got very close to the tree, but 9 of them, again thinking about what these naysayers were saying, convinced themselves that if they got to that tree, climbed and fell, they would really be making a fool of themselves. So 9 of them dropped out. Freddy the frog was in the middle of the pack. He looked around and he was wondering why everyone was dropping out. He knew that these frogs that were dropping out ran faster than him. But well, he went along his merry way because he wanted to prove to his mom that he was a fast runner and that he was going to win. He ran, he came to the tree, went to the top of the tree. As soon as he reached to the top of the tree, he turned around and smiled and waved at everyone. His mother was so happy, clapping away. The spectators could not believe what just happened. They thought this was a miracle. It turns out that Freddy the Frog was deaf, and because of that, he did not hear anything that the spectators were saying. The other frogs succumbed to their remarks and their criticism. I thanked the teacher for this amazing story. It was clear to all of us in my family, including my daughter, that we will meet more naysayers in our lives than who believe in us. But the important thing is to believe in ourselves and to pay no heed to those who are looking to bring us down rather than uplifting us. We will now begin our rapid-fire round of nuggets of life lessons. I have picked only 2 sources for this episode. I refer to both these sources very many times in my life. First is Caroline Myss, who you may know as the author of Sacred Contracts, Anatomy of the Spirit, and many other thought-provoking books. Here we go. Caroline Myss's pearls of wisdom are: 1. Every person has a purpose. If you have life, you have purpose. This is true of every 7 billion of us on earth. If there exists one atom of life, then it is as purposeful as our planet. 2. Have no judgments and expectations of your life. Give up the need to know what happens tomorrow. Be fully present and fully appreciate what you have in life right now. 3. This is one of my favorite because I have internalized this one and it brings me peace. This is what she says: if prayer is you talking to God, then intuition is God talking to you. Listen to your intuitive voice no matter what anyone says. It will guide you. That is your guiding voice. This links us back to our story. No matter how people try to discourage you, you believe in yourself. Listen to your intuition because that is literally God or universe or whatever you want to name it talking to you, and then march on. Just march on. 4. And this is sacred too. You were supposed to be everywhere you were to be where you are right now. Everything happened by design based on your desire and the choices you made. Today, you are the sum total of all the choices you have made so far. Profound, isn't it? 5. In one interview between Caroline and Oprah, Oprah asked, "How do you know if you have the right job, the right spouse, the right friends, goal, or purpose?" Caroline responded, "You know you have the right of anything if you're not put in a position where you have to betray yourself, your sense of integrity, your heart, your psyche, your sense of power. You do not betray yourself. You do not lose yourself. When it does not feel like you have to compromise who you are, is when you know that what you have is meant for you. It will make you happy and it will feel right." My next source is Wayne Dyer. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Wayne is a world-renowned spiritual author of books such as The Power of Intention, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, etc. He is the one who helped me realize my eternal and spiritual nature. Here are some life lessons from him. 1. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. 2. Don't let your plans become bigger than you. If things are not working out and you need to adjust your plans, then be willing to do so. 3. And this one is very, very important. If we all together understand, internalize, and work on this, the world is going to be such a better place to live in. Nobody dies of a snake bite, Wayne says. What people die of is the venom that spreads in the body from that bite. You can't be unbitten, but if you want to be happy, you can choose to forgive and release the venom of the past. You can't be unbitten, but if you want to be happy, you can choose to forgive and release the venom of the past. 4. People say, "I will believe it when I see it." Wayne says, flip that on its head. You see what you believe. If you get stuck with believing only what you see, then you are limiting yourself. Why do you pay your electricity bill? Do you see electricity? But you still pay it because you know it's there. Similarly, you are limitless. The only limit you have is the one you believe. If you believe in limiting thoughts and ideas, then they will play out in your life. Now I'm going to take you back to our story. As soon as the spectators started saying to the frogs that you can't do this, this is impossible, they started believing and therefore they dropped. Because Freddy the Frog did not hear all of that and he continued believing in himself, he reached to the top of the tree. And lastly, and this is very practical, if you take nothing away from this episode today, but this, then you will have taken away a lot. Wayne says, when you wake up in the morning, say to yourself, "This is my day and no one is going to ruin it for me." And when you experience anything challenging throughout the day, then repeat the statement. For example, if you're stuck in traffic and you're late for a meeting, or if you feel someone is bringing you down by their words or actions, then just say it over to yourself. This is my day and no one is going to ruin it for me. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this episode. This brings us to the end of Sharing Life Lessons special 75th episode. I will bring you the next episode next Wednesday. Until then, be happy, be safe, and be blessed.